everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to try monthly stats for the first time. So if you've been here for a while, I used to do twice a month wrap-ups in which I would tell you about the stats for those 2 weeks as well as the books that I read, and we would just do that. Now, I have been reading a ton lately, and so I've been doing weekly wrap-ups instead, and now I'm going to try to wrap up the stats for the month as well as some standouts and favorite books from the month that we can talk about here in this video. So this is for the month of June, and in the month of June, I didn't participate in any readathons, but I did do a June new releases reading vlog, as well as I did some Patreon recommendation vlogs that you can see over on Patreon. I did my book haul revisit, and I feel like that was enough to keep my TBR just all over the place. So let's talk about the stats. I read 37 books and DNF'd one, and that does include middle grade as well as adult books. So it may seem like a lot, but some of them were middle grade. I read 9,627 pages, which is 321 pages per day. The average page length of my books was 260, so that shows you that there were some middle grades definitely in there. I read 1.23 books per day. I had 17 novels, 10 chapter books, 5 graphic novels, 3 novellas, and 2 tomes, which is crazy. I don't love tomes, but there we go. 14 were adult and 11 were middle grade. I read 18 from my shelf and 19 from somewhere else. And gosh darn it, I really want to get that at least, my goal is always 50%. I would love to be reading more like 75% off my shelf, but there we go. Then I read 13. So even if I have them on my shelf, that doesn't mean I'm reading them 100% physically, all that. So I read 13 from Libby, 12 just from my library, 6 off my shelf, 3 from NetGalley, 1 from Hoopla, 1 from Kindle, and 1 from Spotify. So if you want any videos about those different sources and where I get all of my books throughout the month, let me know. But I like to use a variety of things. And my Kindle library is one thing that I'm feeling a little shameful about because it's huge and I have not read very many of them. So I'm glad I read at least one. I had 17 audiobooks, 17 physical, and then 3 ebooks, which ebooks are not my favorite, which is why my Kindle library is so big. So there's that. Then we have 5 were new releases and 32 were backlist. And backlist is anything 2023 or before. So, yeah, there's that. So as far as genre goes, you guys, I had them all over the place, as I always do. So there were 13 contemporary, 5 Christian fiction, 5 nonfiction, 5 romance, women's fiction, historical, nature, classics or retellings, horror, cozy mystery. I love to read it all. And lately I've been kind of reading the same genre in a row, and I don't know how people do it because I really need to jump around to stay interested. So that's why there's so many genres. And then as far as star ratings go, my average was 3.47. So a lower than average month. And I will say, especially at the end of the month here, I had a lot of really meh reads, but I had 1 DNF, 1 2-star, 1 2.5 star, 10 3 stars, 12 3.5 stars, 13 4 stars, and that's it. 4 stars was as high as we went in June. So that is that part of it. And then let's talk about the standouts. So in the entire month of reading 37 books or whatever I said, there's 5 that I feel like were really good and worth talking about. So we have The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center, which I read in my June new releases vlog, so I can link that down below. But I really love Catherine Center. I feel like her brand of women's fiction, romance, comedy is just so great. And I met her last summer, and I feel like my love for her has just grown. And so this is about a screenwriter who she is taking care of her dad all the time and has kind of lost her life because she's so focused on her dad. And she gets this opportunity to work with this uber famous screenwriter who typically writes like horror and sci-fi, I think, or something like that. And he wants to write a rom-com and needs her help. And so she goes, well, she thinks he wants her help. She goes, and he is kind of not into it, but so the two work together for 6 weeks. Of course, there's a romance. It's super sweet, super fun. I liked our main character a lot, so I love that book. Then we have A Time to Dance by Karen Kingsbury. This is about a couple who met when they were like children and started a romance like in college, and now their kids are grown and things are falling apart, and things are falling apart because of things that happen very much, kind of, she's resentful that she spent so much time taking care of the kids and he was at work. He's resentful that he didn't feel loved or needed, and just a very natural dynamic and how they work through it. And it was so good. Then we have The Warsaw Orphan by Kelly Rimmer. So this is one that I think I read for a Patreon recommendation. And I have never read Kelly Rimmer before, despite the fact that I have multiple on my shelves. And it will not be my last. This is two different stories, two different people, and their experiences during World War II and how their stories connect. And of course, it's harrowing, it's hard. One is trying to work with the resistance and getting kids out of the Warsaw Ghetto, and one is he's a boy that is in a family in the Warsaw Ghetto. And so, it was heavy, but it was very good. Then we have this one. I should have probably grabbed them all, but Lineage of Grace by Francine Rivers. So this is 5 different novellas about 5 different women leading up to Jesus. So we've got Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, Bathsheba, and Mary. And I read 3 or 4 of these in the month of June, and I just really like this. You guys, biblical fiction is something that is like kind of touchy. Some people love it, some people don't. And I definitely like some of these stories better than others. And we only know so much. We don't know a ton from the Bible about all these different women. So she has to fictionalize some of it and fabricate some of their story. And like I said, the places she went with some of them I liked more than others. But honestly, this month has been a month of anxiety for me. Just kind of a higher anxiety month. I think for those of you who have anxiety, you know that sometimes you just have rougher times. And so having my brain in biblical fiction has actually been very, very helpful to me, as opposed to the horror that I read and things like that. Like, my brain is just going a million miles an hour. And so having it focused on biblical fiction has been really helpful to me. So I think these were kind of the right book at the right time, as well as just a genre that I would like to explore more. So really, really like these, and would recommend the individual stories if you can find them, or this bind up of all 5. As much as I don't like bind ups, I really enjoyed this. And then the last standout is Cole and Layla Are Just Friends by Bethany Turner. This is another one in my new releases vlog. Cole and Layla have been friends forever. Now they're almost 40, and life kind of crashes down on him. He works, they both work actually, but he runs a restaurant that was owned by his grandpa. His grandpa dies. He assumes that he's going to leave the restaurant to him. Surprise, he does not. And so now Cole is feeling hurt and gets this opportunity to go to New York to maybe get a job there. They're from a tiny town in Colorado. And so he contemplates moving. And the majority of the book takes place in New York. And I would say this is great for summertime vibes, because it's very summer in New York, I think. I think it's summertime. I feel like it's summertime. Maybe it's not. But anyway. So they go to New York, and he's kind of scouting out if he wants to live there or not. They're kind of talking about what will their relationship look like if he's that far away. What will their futures be like? And of course, they realize they have feelings for each other. That part's a little silly for me, because the whole eye-opening moment was a little silly, but it was a cute book if you like Friends to Lovers. If you don't pick this up. But those are my standouts of the month, my stats of the month. Let me know, do you like this video? Do you like seeing things in this lens? And what do you guys think? Should I add anything, take anything out? You guys let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.